Do not talk about your problems. What kind of day are you having? Amazing. How's your health? Fantastic. How's your family? Couldn't be better. But you are struggling in your health and your family situation is not good and your business is struggling. Maybe you've been fired or are unemployed, maybe even homeless. I'm watching these videos come through on my YouTube feed, and I'm getting more and more stuff that is being suggested to me because I'm watching more and more of Dan Martell and Tony Robbins and Ed Milet and Gary Vee and so forth, and more and more stuff about being a better man and having more control over one's life is showing up in my feed. And I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about this. You know, when we are, well, this video here is saying that people who constantly talk about their problems never seem to solve their problems, never seem to get on the other side of the whirlwind of problems that are happening in their life. And they talk about these problems and talk about these problems, but the problems are never resolved. And the speaker in this YouTube short is saying, stop talking about your problems. Because when you talk about your problems constantly, those problems only compound and cement themselves into your life. And so he suggests, if someone comes up to you and says, how are you doing today? You say, fantastic. What's your family situation? How's your wife? Oh, couldn't be better. How are your children? Oh, amazing. How's your health? Fantastic. And he's saying that if you approach life constantly, I guess at the default or from the framework that life is great, you're more likely to get through the problems and actually solve them. And I'm thinking this must be when you're talking with the average I was about to say average Joe, like average people. I don't think that so much as acquaintances, strangers, and things of that nature. And I'm like, but would you be speaking the truth? Like, would you be saying something that is true? Because I like the idea of this in the sense that if I stop harping that I've got problems, that I've got all these issues, that the issues are more likely to resolve themselves, or you're more likely to get into a place where you will resolve the problems. And I like this idea of the problems getting resolved, and I can trace this attitude back to counseling and psychology, where it seems that a lot of counseling, and I'm saying this seems, is the perception, this is the perception, that they're not interested in you actually like solving the problems and not needing their services anymore, so much as they are this continuous problem listening friend that you never solve the problems and you need their assistance for the rest of your life. I'm like, I don't want that. I want the problems to be fixed. Help me fix these challenges that I'm dealing with. And I'm like, okay, so if I was to just stop talking about all these challenges, what do I do with them? If this is true, let's just pretend that, if you stop talking about your problems, it's gonna get solved. What do we do with these challenges and issues that plague our life? And I think one of the things that is being talked about here is to stop focusing on them and instead focus on the solutions. I've heard this before. And I'm like, what do you mean focus on the solutions? Like what could that like but the issue is I've my car is broken, and it's been broken for the past year almost every single month, and I'm constantly pouring money into my car, and I don't have money to fix the car or to replace the car, but the car is becoming more expensive to keep than to even buy a new car or a better car. It's like, what do you mean focus on the solution? Stop talking about the problems and just say everything's great. Because in my mind, I realize I'm kind of shifting off of the thing that I was saying originally, but my mind is going, but would I not then be telling a lie? Would I not be speaking untruthfully and speaking out of harmony with reality? Things aren't good. I have been having troubles. Like, would that not be lying? And I don't want to tell lies. It is a part of my religion, but I think, I trust truth, and truth is not a lie. So how can I say that life is wonderful when I don't think it is? And all of a sudden, wait a second, listen to that. I don't think it is. I'm like, is it that life is awful or terrific depending on my perspective and the framework that I put around these things in my life? Right? Like if I was homeless, I would be so happy to suddenly be shifted from homelessness to trying to deal with paying for a mortgage. Living in a tent, exposure, don't have enough food, and now I actually can afford to have a house and have the problem of trying to pay for the mortgage. And that would be a problem I would like to have if I was homeless. If I had no vehicle at all, none, and I couldn't get to destinations, would I not be happy to have a problem like a car that needs to be fixed each month? At least I have a car. So could it be that whether or not something is wonderful is based on just simply my framework of it? Boy, that hits my pride. Because I don't like dealing with the broken car. I don't like dealing with unemployment. I don't like dealing with being broke. I don't like that. I don't like the challenges I have with my wife. I don't like the issues I'm dealing with my children, so on and so on. The job I have, I hate, right? That kind of thing. But if I was to change my perspective and put my eyes into the eyes of someone who doesn't have the blessings that I have, would he not say, I have nothing to complain about? Would he not say, dude, you've got it good? Maybe that's where the truth is. Maybe that's where the truth is. Now, when I say, oh, my life is awful, that's my opinion on what I'm dealing with and focusing only on the negative. Tony Robbins was saying that life is what we focus on. I'm paraphrasing a bit. He says it differently, but basically, life is what we focus on. So if I was to focus on not having a good car or the car that I want, well, just so you know, the car that I want, then the car that I have will not be good enough. It'll always disappoint me. But if I was to change my focus and go, yes, but at least I have a car, at least I have one, that would be better. At least I have children. At least I have, maybe that gratitude will shift my mind so that I can see solutions more than I see problems. Meaning, I only see the problem, I don't see the solutions. The problems will present themselves. They don't need my special attention. Solutions need special attention. So, if someone says, Rodney, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. And it could maybe go with like, God is blessing. Doggone it. I need that light. But yeah, I could do that. I could say that my life is good. And well, how's things with your father? Fantastic. Considering he is 80, fantastic. And try to be as accurate as I possibly can be without constantly focusing on the problems, but instead focus on the solutions or focus on the things to be grateful for. I need to practice that. I've got to start building. I was about to say from now on, but I know better than that, because If you're anything like me, you'll be like, from now on, and 2 minutes later, you've forgotten of the now on that you said. So instead, I'm going to say, I'm going to be changing my path and changing my aim towards gratitude and solutions. Gratitude and solutions. Gratitude and solutions. Got to do that. I thank you for listening. God bless you. God be with you. I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.